Hi, everybody. This is Nasser Rodriguez with Comic Art San Antonio, CASA for short. And we're the only comic convention in San Antonio that focuses on comic book writers and comic book artists. Today, we'll be speaking to one of the comic book writers that will be joining us on October 5th, Leslie Julien. How you doing today, Leslie?
Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm doing
Th-
good.
Thanks for joining me today. Cool. So, as I mentioned, Leslie will be joining us for CASA. And you were there last year with us, right, Leslie?
Yeah, so this will be my second year. Looking forward to it.
Oh, cool. Awesome, man. So definitely we're going to get into talking about your work, what people can find of yours at CASA. But before we get there, first I want to say happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Much
So,
appreciated.
no problem. And we just wanted to get into kind of your history with comics and things like that. So,
Yeah.
were you always a comic book fan growing up?
I wasn't per se like I knew like of comic books. I was, coming up in the days of spinner racks, in the 7-Eleven and stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
my parents just really buy a ton of comics for me. I maybe had like two comics
Yeah.
growing up that I read to shreds. I had like a random Wolverine one, and I was big into turtles, so I managed to get like a random I think it was like an Archie Turtles issue. So yeah, like growing up, I didn't read a ton of comics, but kind of I was making comics. Growing up, I used to draw a lot more, but kind of transitioned from drawing to writing, and so still working on stories, writing stories, and I stopped for a bit. But around college,
But if
the
you'd one real
mhm.
quick, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Go
So
ahead.
if you weren't really reading them, like what was it
Mhm.
that got you interested in wanting to draw and make your own?
I was still watching a lot of cartoons and whatnot. So like one of the first comics I made was like Godzilla versus King Kong. It's kind of cool to see that
Nice.
happening now.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. You were doing
That's a
your own
classic.
fan fiction back then,
Yeah,
huh?
exactly. So I was doing that. I was doing a lot of like superhero inspired stuff, like Avengers like knockoffs and stuff like
Yeah,
X-Men
yeah,
knockoffs, because I was watching the X-Men animated show, and
yeah.
like I said, big into Ninja Turtles. So whatever I was seeing like on TV, I was pretty much just ripping off and doing my own
Oh,
version of if you remember like Beetleborgs, I think I did my own version of that,
yeah,
like
yeah.
my own like insect
Yeah,
inspired people. So
I think a
uh
lot of us were doing that. Like if it was comics or cartoons or something, like
yeah.
you're making your own version of Spawn or you're making your own
Hmm.
version of whatever it was. Were
Yeah.
you seeing like your friends at that time? Were they really into comics and you were checking out what they had or anything like that?
No, like again, it seemed like for the most part, I didn't really know anyone growing up that was into comics. So
Really?
that's what
Okay.
my yeah, I was just pretty limited in terms of like the access and exposure, which sucks because looking back now, like there was a really good comic shop like not too far from my grandma's house that I definitely could have been
Oh
going
man.
to all the time. But no, at the time, one, I didn't know about, and two, I didn't really have much of an allowance to
Yeah,
spend
yeah.
on
Yeah, I
anyway.
understand that.
But yeah, it's like dang, like just looking back, it's like there's just so a rich history I definitely was missing out on in terms of like SPX was like from Maryland, so like
Yeah, yeah.
so many years missed going to that. So stuff like that. So you think
Oh,
about like
okay. So
dang,
is that
like
where you're from? You're from Maryland?
yeah, from Maryland originally.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. And where are you based out of right now?
so based in San Antonio. Yeah, I
Oh,
bounce
okay.
around, but yeah, I'm in San Antonio now.
So what was what brought you all the way from Maryland to San Antonio?
So it's not too long of a story, but basically, me and my wife, then girlfriend, we were kind of getting maybe not tired of Maryland, but wanted to do something else, and we had gone on vacation out to San Diego, and I was like, hey, like let's go to San Diego Comic Con right here,
Nice.
and we did, and I loved it. And so we moved out to San Diego like the next year, just because the
Okay.
weather and everything like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then we had our child, and San Diego is pretty expensive, so
Yeah, I've
after four or
heard.
5 years of San Diego, we were in the Midwest for a bit, and just with some rough winters, and we are just kind of looking for a different change of pace. We've moved down here to Texas, and it's been a lot of fun.
Oh, it's cool, man. Yeah, you don't have to worry about the rough winters down here, really,
No,
right?
that's long gone now.
Yeah, no shoveling snow or anything like
Nope.
that.
Yeah,
So,
just got to get your
okay.
sunshade going.
Yeah, and as I've mentioned with some of the other interviewees that I've had, like we're a pretty good area here with San Antonio and Austin stuff as far as like
Yeah.
indie creators and comic book creators in general. We've got a bunch of guys who are doing pro work and then a bunch of
Hmm.
people that are doing their own independent like self-published stuff. So yeah, it's a really cool creative area.
Yeah, it's been fun to slide into the scene. Back when I was in DC, I wasn't really making like comics yet. I didn't really start until later in my San Diego years, and really by the time I was getting more serious about it, I was in Omaha, which I mean, I'm sure there is a scene there, but I wasn't able to connect with other creatives. So it's been a lot of fun being in San Antonio and linking up in CASA and just immediately finding a creative community, which has been just the best. Like you're
Yeah.
doing so much stuff alone. Like it's fun to go back and
Yeah.
forth and just kind of talk shop with other people that kind of get it. And so there's been a lot of that in the San Antonio and Austin scene, which I've really appreciated since moving here.
Yeah, that is one thing with comics, whether you're a writer or an artist, a lot of it you're just spending by yourself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I used to like the things when people would get together and do like drinking draws and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
those are the best.
but COVID kind of put an end to all that, and then like
Mm-hmm.
nobody, it doesn't seem like they really started back up. But
Yeah, maybe we can make
I
that
know, right?
happen
Well,
again.
think
That'd be
about that.
fun.
Maybe I'd CASA sponsored one or something.
Yeah, that's a
But
great idea.
okay, so you were talking about how like you when you were in Maryland, you weren't really creating your own comics yet. So what
Mhm.
was it that like made you start to or decide like, you know what, this is something that I want to do? And then also you talked about how you were drawing. So when
Mhm.
did you make the transition from like I'm going to be the artist on my comics to the writer on my comics?
So I feel say like a lot of creative people are maybe a little too hard on themselves. So like I was seeing my art and I wasn't necessarily satisfied with it for a while. And so I would say like around middle school I stopped drawing, but I was still like always like making stories. Like even when I was like doing like a one-off character sketch, I had this crazy background for every character I was making.
Mhm.
So I was just slowly making my own stories and kind of transitioned from like making comics like short stories and whatnot. But even then I'd still put that aside as well. So like around college, like I said, I ended up getting back into comics because of Civil War and Ninja Turtles had like the IDW run starting and there's like a
Yeah,
comic shop like literally right across the college. So
yeah,
I'd go there and I was like finally have disposable income. And I was just like consuming like so much,
that's
so
awesome,
much
man.
comics at the time. It was great. And that was my introduction into comics, the mainstream really. And
Yeah.
so I was reading a ton of stuff and like I said, my girlfriend was like, hey, like you're reading so many comics, like why don't you make some? I was like, how? Like maybe I had my stuff as a kid early before, but I
Yeah,
really didn't
yeah,
know how to write comics because of
yeah,
transitioning to
yeah.
just writing. And so I was like, how do you write comics? I hopped online and started looking up some resources
Mhm.
and I slowly started writing stuff. I started writing, like one pagers and then graduated from one pagers to two
Cool,
pagers to
man.
four pagers and just slowly
And
started
were these just like
building.
all stories that you've had in your head for a long time
Yeah.
that you
So
were just like time to
some
get
of
them
them
down on paper?
exactly. So some of them were things that like I did have like a short story too that I adapted from a short story into a comic.
Mhm.
Another thing was like I wrote like one of my earliest comics was like about my commute in San Diego. It's just like a kind of a hyped up a version of my commute, like me like
Uh-huh.
on the bus and like dealing with just all the quirks of like
Yeah.
the people on the bus and public
Yeah.
transportation and stuff like that. So just like borrowing from life and just like stories that I had stored up and just slowly started building. And like I said, this is around the time that I moved to San Diego. So I'd done like a convention like way before I even should have been doing conventions. Like I did like a con in LA, like
Uh-huh.
when I maybe had like 2 3 comics in my name, like and
Yeah.
people were still like really like warm and just like super supportive and that kind of helped stoke the fire, even though I wasn't necessarily as productive as I feel like I am now.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to exhibit at San Diego before you moved?
No, not San
Really?
Diego. The biggest con I had done at the time I was still on the West Coast was WonderCon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty big
So
too, then.
again, it's still way earlier than I should have done, but that was still a great
No
experience.
way,
And
man. There's no perfect time. Just get
no,
out there
exactly,
and
I
just
agree.
do it.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's awesome. So then
Hmm.
once you get to moving to San Antonio and then you decide like you're in this community and you're gonna do it more,
Yeah.
um, what was like the first thing that you decided to like, I'm gonna put out there, I'm really gonna start like going to cons to promote and stuff?
Yeah, so it was kind of perfect timing when I came to San Antonio because that's when Savage Wizard was starting, which is
Hmm.
kind of my first ongoing like miniseries thing. So that's been a lot of fun. That was like towards like the COVID, like locking everything down and like trying to promote that comic was a really strange and interesting time because I started the Kickstarter like right as I moved here. So
Yeah,
that was stressful, but we
yeah.
got it
Yeah.
funded. And
And can
yeah,
you
so.
Can you
Yeah,
give
go ahead.
everyone like the elevator pitch? What is Savage Wizard?
Yeah, so Savage Wizard is basically the story. I like to say, what if Conan the Barbarian was forced to become a wizard? That is
Okay,
the crux of the story. So
that's
it's
awesome, man.
about this barbarian Renar who teams up with a, wizard Akora, who begrudgingly teaches him magic in order to take down someone who he considers to be his best friend who betrayed him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you've got issue 2 on Kickstarter right now, right?
Yeah, so that's actually already funded. Pencils are nearly done. We got like 2 pages left for pencils complete, and since it's black and white, inking is gonna follow soon, and then yeah, I'll get that to a printer. It's definitely gonna be ready by CASA, so I'm super excited
All
about that.
right.
Yeah.
Cool, man. That's what I was going to ask you. So, what are you most excited to have at Casa for people to take a look at?
Savage Wizard #2 for sure.
Okay.
I've been just super excited about this. There's been like a change in artist, so I am really excited for people to see like the new art direction and just like the progression of the story. I'm definitely super excited about Savage Wizard #2.
Cool. And do you already have a set number of issues for Savage Wizard in mind,
Yeah,
or?
I actually just finished #6, so it's gonna be a 6 issue
Oh,
run.
really? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And then that's it. We are done with Savage Wizard. Moving on,
So
or do you
there's
have some
definitely
other ideas?
potential to do a little bit more with it, but I want to finish the 6 issues, maybe rest a little bit, and we'll see if we want to revisit some more. But there definitely is potential to do some more in the
Okay.
Savage Wizard universe.
Cool, man. So definitely like Savage Wizard sounds really cool. And like you mentioned like Conan and stuff. So
Mhm.
when you jumped back into comics at like with Civil War and stuff like that, do you find like that stuff that you were reading, is that like an influence now on your writing, or do you find other influences?
That's a great question. I would say not so much now. I think in general, a lot of my work it kind of goes all over the place, but I think is definitely inspired by like the things that we're going through right now in terms of like politics and the economy and just like
Okay.
it's not manifesting in like current work like Savage Wizard, but I've got some stuff brewing that just kind of touches a little bit on like the inequities and inequalities of like
Yeah.
capitalism and that kind of thing. But in general, like I said, my work is one inspired by just like these random ideas that pop into my head, like
Yeah.
yeah, what if the barbarian becomes a wizard, and
Okay.
just like yeah, just the stuff that kind of irks me and like kind of like I want to just get out on a
Yeah.
page. So I've got another story, Head Cases, that will be crowdfunding soon, and that
Oh,
again is
okay.
just like another fun one. It's like about 2 kids that still bag in New York, and there's a hitman chasing them. So I kind of go all over the force in terms of
Okay.
subject matter.
Well, that's cool. You'll have like different genres and stuff that
Yeah.
people can pick up from you. And as far as
Mhm.
writing style, do you find any writers like that you I mean that have influenced your writing style, or that you really look for inspiration?
Brian K. Vaughan is a heavy one.
Okay.
Runaways is also something I was reading a lot at that time when I first started getting back into comics. So he's a huge inspiration for me. I'm not sure if you can see in my writing, but like he's just kind of like a true north of someone that really inspires me, and I really appreciate his work a lot.
That's a good one. That's a good one to have as a inspiration, because man, with Runaways, Saga, Paper Girls,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
so much great stuff.
yep.
Okay, cool. And are you currently a fan, Leslie? Is there anything that you're reading or picking up or keeping track of uh, that's coming out monthly or anything?
So in general, I'd say like 95% of stuff is like super indie. Like, so it's like stuff that's coming out on Kickstarter or like,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like other creators, the work I know, like I'm picking up a lot of like scout books and stuff like that. But I'm recently like I said, I'm a big Ninja Turtles nerd. And so I'm trying to get caught back up with stuff now that the Aaron Campbell, Aaron, wow, my brain's not
Jason
working.
Aaron?
Sorry, Jason
Okay,
Aaron. Yeah,
yeah.
thank you. Jason
I was
Aaron.
like, wait, what is it? I know this.
I'm confusing him with Sophie Campbell,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, it's not Jason Aaron. So yeah, now that Jason Aaron's run's gonna start, I'm trying to get caught up. So I was actually just reading Last Row, and then finally, and
Oh,
yeah, just trying
yeah.
to get caught back up and stuff because I kind of fell off, not for any particular reason, but just because life, my read
Oh,
pile
yeah,
is
yeah.
really
Stuff
bad.
pops up. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really want to get caught up on Turtles, but apart from that, I'm hearing some good stuff about the Ultimate, so I do want to check that out. But
Oh,
no, other
cool.
than that, I'm just all over the place in terms of stuff I'm reading.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much good stuff out there. It's
Yeah,
like hard to keep up with all of it. And like you said,
I know.
not
I just want to
only
freeze time sometimes. Like, come on.
yeah, just can I just read for like a week and no one
Yeah,
bother me?
that's what
Yeah.
I'm hoping my Father's Day just
Oh, really?
let me finish
Just
my read pile.
just go sit in a room and nobody
Yeah,
bother daddy. So that'd be
just for a little
awesome.
bit. Just give me an hour or two. I'll be happy.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much again for joining me. Before we finish up here, Leslie, can you tell everybody that wants to follow Savage Wizard, wants to follow you and your upcoming work, where can they find you?
Yeah, I would say one of the best places to keep in touch would be Less Right. So that's LESWRITE .card. That's card with two R's, CARRD .co. Less Right .card.co is basically has everything. My Twitter, Instagram, and newsletter is one of the best places to find me. But yeah, Instagram, I am less underscore right, and Twitter is less right. Pretty much you put less right into an internet search engine and you'll find some iteration of something I'm doing.
Okay, cool, man. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me today, sir. Again, everybody, Leslie will be with us October 5th at
Yeah.
CASA. We are going to be at the Marriott San Antonio Airport this year. So definitely come out and join us. Come and see what Leslie has. Check out Savage Wizard 1 and 2. Will you have one there?
But oh yeah, one's gonna be there. I
Okay,
got it in
cool.
stock, so you're
I
good to
didn't I
go.
didn't want to tell people to come get one and you didn't have it there. But yeah,
You got
definitely
it.
definitely come get Savage Wizard 1 and 2. Check out everyone else that will be there. And again, Leslie, thank you so much, man.
Thank you. It's gonna be a good time.
All right, have a good one.
You too.